I'm so pleased to have Dr. Sama Bilbao y Leo, the Director General of the World Nuclear Association. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to join you, even though my voice is kind of running away, but hopefully we'll be able to move forward.
I'll just get straight into it. Kenya recently began the process of identifying a site for its first nuclear power plant in the Siaya County, a critical international atomic energy agency. How does the World Nuclear Association view this milestone in the context of Africa's broader nuclear ambitions?
Well, I think it is great that Kenya is going to specific steps to move forward with their nuclear energy program. So that is very important. At the same time, let's recognize that Kenya is one of many countries in Africa that are moving forward with nuclear energy. So of course, we are in South Africa, which we probably will discuss, where we already have nuclear power and we have had it for 4 years. And Egypt is already building 4 units right now. So it's great to see Kenya and perhaps other countries like Uganda, Ghana, Rwanda, others that are also going through these positive, concrete steps moving forward.
And in August this year, South Africa upheld the positive environmental authorization for the new 4,000 megawatt nuclear station.
Yeah.
What role could such a large-scale project play alongside small modular reactors in Africa's energy mix?
Well, I think that is going to be very important. As I was saying, South Africa already operates 2 reactors. They provide about 3 to 5% of the electricity in South Africa. But of course, as the demand increases, as the needs increases, as South Africa wants to industrialize even more, additional capacity is needed. So I understand that the government of South Africa is finalizing currently this integrated resource plan in which we expect that nuclear energy will have a significant role, up to perhaps 10 gigawatts of new nuclear. So I think it's very excellent that ESCOM is already moving forward with positive steps to assess potential locations for large and small, perhaps modular reactors. So again, both large and small have a very important role to play depending on the specific needs of different countries.
And just in line with South Africa, earlier this year, they reactivated the Pebble Bed modular reactor, marking a revival of indigenous SMR development. How important is local innovation compared to improved nuclear technology for Africa's long-term self-sufficiency?
Well, I think that's very important. I think that maybe perhaps a lot of people do not remember that South Africa is a pioneer in nuclear energy. I think that it's not very well known that this pebble bed reactor technology, this gas-cooled reactor technology, was pioneered in South Africa. And for many reasons, it was kind of mothballed. But clearly, now this is a moment in history with many countries, not only in the African continent, are looking at new nuclear. They are looking at advanced nuclear. And obviously, South Africa's knowledge and expertise and all this research that was already performed is going to be very, very important. So I very much look forward to seeing all that knowledge to be deployed at a global level.
And the IAEA and World Bank signed a landmark agreement to support nuclear energy for development. How significant is the shift in multilateral financing for the future of nuclear in Africa?
It's very important. So the International Atomic Energy Agency and also we at World Nuclear Association have been working for several years now with the World Bank to articulate for them the sustainability case for nuclear energy. And it's very, very good that finally we have succeeded and they have changed their lending policies. So this is very important in many ways. Obviously, because it opens the opportunity for the World Bank itself to finance nuclear projects. But even more importantly, I would say it creates a very positive signal for many other multilateral development banks to reassess their own policies. And in fact, we are seeing that already. We've been already speaking with the African Development Bank, West African Development Bank, African Bank, and perhaps many others, like the BRICS Energy Bank. All these banks are also considering nuclear energy a key piece of their lending policies.
And let's move to Kenya. So Kenya recently signed the MOU with the China National Nuclear Corporation for technical exchange on nuclear energy. What does this reveal about the importance of international partnerships for newcomer countries?
Well, I think that the nuclear industry has always been a global industry where we all share best practices, knowledge, information, and we all learn and collaborate with each other. So this is particularly true when it comes to newcomer countries, right? I think that we all are quite keen, quite happy to actually share our best information with countries that are embarking potentially in a new nuclear program. So obviously this partnership that you mentioned between Kenya and China, CNNC in China, is very important. But we see many other partnerships. For example, you know that the US is working very closely with Ghana, for example, or we know that Russia, Rosatom, is working very closely with Egypt. And of course, there are many other different partnerships. So I think that, again, this brings to light how the global nuclear industry works and has historically worked very, very, very well together.
Just looking back at South Africa, the Coburg Unit 1 was recently granted a 20-year life extension, and Unit 2 following shortly after. What lessons can other countries draw from South Africa's success in extending nuclear lifespan?
Well, you know, what I think is very important is right now the world is recognizing the essential role of nuclear energy. Obviously, new nuclear, we discussed this already, but it's just as important to make the most of the existing nuclear fleet. And obviously, South Africa, we have these 2 units. They have been operating for 40 years incredibly well, providing an enormous amount of 24/7 carbon-free, affordable energy. So I think it's a very good success for South Africa, for Eskom, that they have succeeded to get the license extension for 1 unit. I expect that the one for the 2nd unit will be coming momentarily November, December this year. And I mean, but what this explains is that these units can actually operate for much longer than 40 years, and they can do this maintaining the same level of performance. So, you know, this year we just released a month ago our World Nuclear Performance Report, in which we presented that 2024 was the year with the highest output of nuclear energy ever. So that was a very good success. But another thing that was very important is that the capacity factors of nuclear power plants also increase to an average global of 83%, so which is pretty high. But what is very important is this 83% is independent of the age of the reactor. So we can have a 5-year-old reactor performing at 83 or higher, or we can have a 40-year-old reactor performing with that high capacity factor. So I think that this speaks volumes about the know-how and the expertise that we have in South Africa operating these nuclear units.
And just my final question, we're here at African Energy Week. What are your key priorities for engaging with African stakeholders at AEW, and how does the association plan to support nuclear energy as part of Africa's future energy portfolio?
Well, we've been very active in Africa for many, many years. Clearly, Africa is one of our priority regions currently, because as we discussed, there is numerous countries in Africa that are very seriously moving forward with nuclear energy programs. So the association is working very closely with other stakeholders, including the International Atomic Energy Agency, of course, the African Union, AFCONE, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and many others, to actually provide to these countries that are interested in nuclear all the information, all the contacts, all the practical details that they need in order to move forward with nuclear programs. And let me just say, I think something that we've seen in recent years that it has changed from perhaps a few decades is that African countries they have a desire to have agency as they move forward with nuclear programs. In other words, they are not just looking for somebody to come and build them a reactor. Nuclear countries want to become active members of the global nuclear family. So it's not just building a reactor, it's actually creating the industrial capabilities, creating the human capabilities so that Africa can be a player in the global nuclear industry as the entire world is looking to triple global nuclear capacity. So our job here is essentially, we are happy to talk to policymakers, we are happy to talk to financiers in Africa, and we are also very happy to talk to large energy users, because obviously those are also key stakeholders looking for abundant 24/7 energy. And maybe let me just say one more thing. Africa is rich in all kinds of resources, and uranium is obviously one of the resources that Africa is rich in. So we work very closely with all the countries in Africa that do have abundance of uranium, and they are interested in becoming key players in the global uranium markets. But not just uranium, but enrichment, conversion, fuel fabrication, and in some cases that includes also having a nuclear program. In some cases, no. But so there is so many opportunities for Africa to become absolutely instrumental in the growth of the global nuclear industry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.